Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we're going to be finding out what happened to Madam Nazar and why she doesn't appear in Red Dead Redemption 2 story mode. So in case you guys have no idea who I'm talking about, although I'm sure you do, Madam Nazar was one of the new characters introduced in the Red Dead Online Frontier Pursuits update. And essentially, she is the one that gets you started down the path of being the creator. I believe she's like a traveling gypsy. I'm not sure if that's like her official title, but she moves from place to place all over the world. So each day she's in a different spot, which is kind of unique. And she's in this sort of like traveling caravan, and she seems to be all by herself. Now, the reason we're talking about this is for a couple of reasons. Number one, Madam Nazar does not appear in single player at all. She's not a story mode character, she's not a side mission character, and that's not unique to characters in Red Dead Online. There are plenty of characters who haven't shown up in story mode at all. Take Sadie Adler's husband, for example. Well, I guess technically he does show up, but he's only dead in the very first mission. But there's also a couple of other characters that we just never see before. And the reason for this is Rockstar has strategically placed Red Dead Online before the start of the main story. We don't know how many years or months it is before, but I think one could easily guess it's about 2 or 3 years. Now, the reason we know it's about 2 or 3 years is because Sadie Adler was actually married in 1896, and we know that our game starts in 1899. So it's roughly about 2 to 3 years before the start of the story. Now again, in case you guys have never met Madam Nazar, to give you a better idea on who we're dealing with here, this is the encounter that you have with her when you meet her for the first time in Red Dead Online.
Hello, stranger.
You don't got the eye. Just an eye for a deal.
I told you, go away, old man.
Nothing but false prophecies and fake jewelry.
Go away, or I see much pain and suffering in your future.
A crook and a charlatan. Make sure you know what you're getting into with this one.
Hey, please, don't listen to him. I am Madam Nazar, channeler of spirits, finder of lost things, and, since everyone seems to be a fortune teller now, seller of the strange and exotic. Which one of these can I help you with today? Wait, don't speak. Let me see. Yes. You're searching for something. What though? A dead lover whose spirit you wish to contact on the other side? No, it's not that. It's not something you've lost, but something you're missing. Yes, purpose. Some meaning in the chaos of this life. Well, you see, that is something I can help you with. Come to work for me. I say I find things, but really, it is others who do the finding. I tell them what I'm looking for, and they collect it for me from far and wide. Sometimes with ease, and sometimes through great hardship. It is work that can be as honest or dishonest as you want it to be. How about it? Do you want to be one of my collectors? I make sure they are rewarded quite handsomely. A small fee is really the least I should ask for giving you what you're looking for and setting you up with everything you need to get started. There are more tools you may want from me in due course, but first, you will need to prove yourself. If you don't want to start now, you can find me again, and the offer will still be there. What is it to be? Well, like I said, you can come back to me at any time. I see a great future for you when you are ready to pursue it.
Okay, so that right there should give you a better idea on who Madam Nazar is, sort of what her story is about, and she is basically the collector prompt for Red Dead Online. Now, the reason we're talking about what might have happened to her, aside from the fact we don't see her in story mode, is a theory that someone posted on the Red Dead Mystery subreddit. Apparently, they found her dead body and skeleton in story mode. And I found that to be quite strange. So the place this individual is talking about today is actually this small little shack that's sort of located in between Van Horn and Annesburg, and it's to the east of Butcher's Creek. And the reason people are putting together a connection is for a couple of reasons. The first is that this place is called Madam Moselle's house. So I can see where there's a connection there. Madam Nazar, Madam Moselle, very similar names. The second is that there seems to be a lady sitting on the front porch who has obviously died. She's turned into a skeleton now, and many people believe that this is what happened to Madam Nazar. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a breakdown here, seeing if it actually could indeed be her, and if some of the objects and items at this shack are the same ones that can be found at her caravan. So for starters, again, in case you guys want to know where this is, here it is on the map. It's very easy to find, although it's not a point of interest. So it's not something you'll be able to find in a strategy guide. You would just have to find it by exploring. And again, the first thing that's kind of interesting here is Madame Moselle. So this is where I think there's a little bit of a disconnect here, because Madame Nazar and Madame Moselle, they're separate names. Even though the first thing in each one is Madame, that's kind of just like a formal name or a polite way to refer to a woman or to address them. So Madame would just be like Miss, but in a more proper form. So the names Nazar, Moselle, certainly different. The next thing about this place is when it was established, which was actually in 1850. That was a long time ago. It's about 49 years before our story takes place. So when this place was founded, I'm pretty sure Madame Nazar isn't even born. She doesn't look 49 years old, that's for sure, but she obviously wouldn't have found it from day one. So maybe this is a relative of hers. Who knows? And probably one of the biggest clues is the lady sitting on the front porch. She seems to be dressed very similarly to Madame Nazar, and underneath her chair, there's actually a lockbox with a female fertility statue. Now, a lot of people are saying that this could be Madame Nazar because she's a collector after all, and maybe this was one of her most prized possessions, the female fertility statue, and she was holding on to it right until the very end. But there's also still a little bit of a disconnect here because, number one, she's wearing different clothing than Madame Nazar, at least how we see her in Red Dead Online. And also, number two, I didn't think Madame Nazar was that old or had that gray of hair. Now, I don't know if hair turns gray when you die or if it's just supposed to fall off and, stop growing like everything else. And there's a couple of other things at this shack. There's some really decorative cloth and clothing over the rails and over the doorway. There's also a painting outside right on the edge of the steps that looks to be of another woman. And there's also no way to get inside this place. That's something we checked as well. All the doors are completely locked. The only thing of value that you can gather is that female fertility statue. So what's my overall theory here is I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that this is Madame Nazar, although I will admit that if you just stand by Madame Nazar's sort of caravan, she'll actually mention some interesting stories. One of the things she talks about is having issues with other Romani folk in the area. And she also says a handful of things about getting involved with the police and how they allow her to operate as a traveling gypsy. So if I had to take a wild guess, I'm just going to imagine that in Rockstar's eyes, she just gets run off in between the two stories from the time Red Dead Online takes place to when Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place. That would be the easiest explanation here, although there is a strong possibility that it could still be her. Now, going back to story mode, the only other thing that's kind of interesting to me is how this body has continued to stay here. You would think if someone came across this or found it, they would want to remove the body or alert the authorities. This body has become a skeleton, which looks like they've been there for ages now. So I'm kind of wondering why it's still there. And maybe it is because it's Madame Nazar that no one wants to go near a gypsy's old body or something like that. Who knows? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. It's certainly an interesting theory. Do you think Madame Moselle is Madame Nazar by the time we get to story mode in Red Dead Redemption 2? Do you think there's just some strange coincidences, or do you think they're not related at all? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go to enjoy this video though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest Red Dead Redemption and GTA videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.